Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. Sandra P is free to move about the cabin. Sandra P is actually still in Vegas. So thank you for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. This is my day 2 recap, even though today is day 3 and the last day of BravoCon. I'm in a different mode portrait, so let me get situated. Okay, I apologize for being late. I had to restart the devices. So today, I have not checked the weather yet. It rained all day yesterday. I posted a short of it. You can have a look at it. Vegas is still the desert, y'all. So climate change is real. I've been to Vegas no less than, I'll say 40 times over the years. I don't ever remember it raining. And yesterday it rained all day. It was a slight mist, then it was pretty steady. Vegas is still beautiful. It's a little dirty. It's kind of struggling a little bit now. It's struggling a little bit now. A lot of the escalators were out, so there's a lot of walking. Be prepared for that if you come. A lot of upstairs, downstairs. Formula One is coming next week. That's the big race car event. And actually, they have closed off like 4 stops for the bus. It's something else. Our shuttle driver from the hotel, he knows all the back spaces. So that was just a little bit to get us started because this is an impromptu live. So welcome. Thank you for joining Sandra P's GenXtra during the live. Since it is impromptu, I fully expect to see most of the people that I will see on Team Replay. You know how much I love Team Replay. The Hey, Sonny J, thank you so much for catching a live. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome in. I'm just talking about my last day of BravoCon, which is upcoming today. I'm going to leave the hotel in about an hour. My first panel is not until, I believe it's 10:15 with Andy Cohen. They have some overlapping stuff. I'm going to try to dip between. But day 2 is what I'm going over today. So this is day 2 of the panel. Thank you for coming in during the live. Anyone else that comes in, please click the like button. And if you are Team Replay, thank you so much for Team Replay. So I will start out with the latest panel. Well, I'll do the first panel because the latest panel, that was 5 p.m. yesterday, y'all. And I've been there all day. The first panel for me was the traders panel that was about 10 a.m. So it is a long day. It's set up convention style. I was mentioning it was raining all day to get there, but it was a very successful day. I got a lot done. I saw a lot of people. It's just, I had to protect my equipment because you're not allowed certain things in. But I saw selfie sticks and they said no selfie sticks. So I don't know if they were media or not. And I just had my trusty iPad and my cell phone with me, my iPhone. So I was able to get quite a lot with that. And then battery pack, they had charging stations. It was set up pretty nice. I'm hearing that it's one of the best that they've had over the years. This is my first BravoCon, but definitely not my last. So I'll start out with the traders panel. I'll talk about the traders that I know that were up there or I know of. Of course, the housewives are a group of traders that they always target, I think because of their charisma, because of their popularity, and they mix them with people that don't have that same thing going for them. So some of the popular traders that were up there, or well known, I'll say, not quite popular for some of them. Dolores from Real Housewives of New Jersey, which we are finding out is on pause and there's no plan right now. They're just kind of test filming. So that's big. There was big news. Teresa and Joe Gorga, her brother, after years of feuding, have hugged. People debating whether or not it's true. I don't know. I've seen Teresa in passing. She's smaller than you would think, prettier than you would think, and seems to be friendlier than you would think. I see a lot of people getting pictures with her and things like that, and she was always stopping for the crowd. Kirsten Wig was another person. She was on Top Chef. She's hosted some Bravo type things. She is beautiful, very thin, very popular. She always had security with her. I have like a picture in passing or something. I didn't successfully sign up for any of the photo ops, y'all. So I know that some people were able to, but I was unsuccessful. Every time I went into a time, it was saying, you're not signed up for this photo shoot. So I'm okay with that. They have some open later today. If there's not too bad lines, I may get on one of those. If not, I'll just try to do my candid. So we have Rob the Throb Dixon, formerly of Real Housewives of Potomac. She's doing her podcast now with her bestie, fellow Green-Eyed Bandit, Giselle. So Robin was a trader, not a very successful one. Sheree of Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was below the radar. Sierra of Summer House, Sierra was a target, so I thought she was pretty good. Tom Sandoval, uh, Vanderpump Rules. I think they put him on that other show that they always talk about. Kate Chastain is a favorite of Andy Cohen's, seems to be. She's okay for me. She's one of the people that are staff on, or I think they call her Chief Stew, on the Below Deck, the original one with Captain Lee. Surprise to the panel was Kirsten Wiig because she's on an upcoming season. And then Portia, Real Housewives of Atlanta, is on an upcoming season. I had a candid picture of Portia. I was sitting down because there's a lot of walking, a lot of standing, a lot of lines. And I was sitting down and I see the people coming toward me, pink dress, big smile, big hair, and it was Portia. That was day one, y'all. By the time I jumped up, the photo I got of her was just in passing. So it was really funny. Everybody that was asking her to stop and take pictures, she seemed to be happy to do so. So I will say that about Portia. She seemed really engaging and friendly in person. I didn't stop her. I want you to look at something funny in the back. I don't know if you can see this lady. Okay, look. So she was walking toward me. I was seated. She was going into something. They have a lot of VIP sections and sections that just they can be. So she's on her way, but she was still being stopped and stuff. Look at this. Try to look at this lady behind her, y'all. What do you think she's looking at? I saw it too. I saw Portia from the back, but I'm not a weirdo. I wasn't going to film her from the back or take a picture of the back of her. So luckily I was able to get her like walking forward, and she was in heels. So that's why her posture is kind of leaning. Okay. So on the traders panel, one of the funny things that happened, Alexander Rogers struck again. He asked a question about Rob Dixon. He said, Robin, are you upset that you got fired in real life from Bravo for lying about your real life and they don't want you on Real Housewives of Potomac? And Robin was like, oh, she started moaning and groaning. Robin looked pretty, but her attitude is so nasty. She's like, oh, moaning and groaning. The crowd was laughing. I was laughing. Alexander Rogers, I don't know how he does it. He asks these questions with a straight face and like, Robin, we would like to know. And she said, I'm not answering that. Isn't it supposed to be about traders? Some people were saying answer it, and other people were saying don't answer it. And she said, I'm not answering it. The audience kind of booed. We cheered for Alex. He sat down. So then there was a question for Chriselle asking for her strategy in voting because she was a trader. No, Chriselle was not a trader. I can't remember something. I don't know what Chriselle. Her strategy for voting for Tom Sandoval 4 times, was it strategy or was it she hated him? She was like, I really hate him. We remember Tom cheated on one of her friends or something. Chriselle, we don't care. She's on Selling Sunsets. She's a Bravo celebrity too. She's a real estate agent. Then she got a question on Robin. Robin Dixon got another question. Now, this was funny, y'all. It wasn't related to traders. Said, Robin, how do you feel being sued by Eminem about your Reasonably Shady podcast? And she's like, oh, does anybody have trader questions? Well, I'm going to answer this one. So Robin, Rob the Thrive Dixon is a hypocrite, has been, still is a hypocrite. And I think if she returns, she will return as a hypocrite. She said she thought it was funny when she first got the paperwork. That's your problem, Robin. You think everything is funny. She thought it was funny that they were being sued by Marshall Mathers. And then she realized, oh, that's Eminem. He has been known as Slim Shady ever since I can remember him coming out. Whether or not we would relate Reasonably Shady to that, I don't know. But evidently she claims it's still going on. Or did Robin say they won? I don't know, y'all. Robin puts me to sleep. Boo. The crowd didn't really care. Kind of laughing. So Kate Chastain was the Below Deck lady. She was pretty popular as a trader. Andy keeps bringing her. Well, not Andy. Who is it? Alan Cumming. They keep bringing her back. So Bravo likes her. And then she hosts the Bravo effing Bravo little sideshow or something they do. So she was popular. She was the one asked about her strategy. She says she doesn't really have strategy. She just, each person's going to have to see whether or not they're a trader or faithful and adjust their strategy based on that. What we're seeing on TV, of course, is edited. You don't know who knows what and start to get a little paranoid. So it was interesting. All the people on the panel were there have been on seasons already. The only surprise people in the upcoming Traders US is Kirsten and Portia. That's from this upcoming season. I showed the picture of Portia. Let me see if I can show you the live of the photo I got of Kirsten walking right by me with her security. Here she is. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous lady. That's her. If you know who she is, she's right there in the middle. That's a side profile because I was walking by and I was like, that's Kirsten Wig from Top Chef. She is going to be not a trader, but on Traders US, the upcoming season. So that's one of her, just fast photo I had of her. Again, I didn't get any of the actual photo opportunities. Today is like the standbys or the people that didn't get one may be able to, but honestly, y'all, I don't know if I'm gonna get online and do all that. So let's see, we covered Alex striking again and getting Robin. He got Kyle yesterday. It wasn't too bad. She was able to answer it and kind of keep her composure. She got all upset the other time he asked her about Teddy. So then Tom and Dolores, y'all, they were still going at it. Tom believed that Dolores didn't have any strategy, that she just had it out for him. Dolores was like, y'all didn't see it, but Tom was always coming for me. Tom, if we remember, Tom was so funny. He would show up in his kilt and have the worst takes. So she was bragging, but I won. Yeah, you won, but I think they split, like where they ended up with $75,000. Somebody asked them whether or not they got the money yet. She was like, yeah, as soon as I filled out the paperwork. So y'all, Bravo doesn't play about that. They give them the money. So as soon as she got the paperwork in, she got the money. So I thought Dolores played scared. She was the last housewife standing, so I will give that to her because I think they are a target because of their charisma. We have Rachel Lindsay of The Bachelor. This is the next panel. Bachelor Nation, but I think she has said she's no longer part of Bachelor Nation. I don't know. Rachel Lindsay, you knew those people were what they were when you went over there. And then the guy she got over there, he or she, they're divorcing and she's got to pay him. And Brian was a whole chiropractor down there in Florida. Okay, so she was the host. She didn't hold it down. I put that as a note. A few times, Angela Oakley, the newbie, the freshman, had to calm them down a few times. So Portia was talking. She was asked, of course, first, dating a woman and a man. Snooze. The audience wasn't. We don't care, Portia. I think it's storyline. Portia used to preach fire and brimstone against certain type of relationships, and now supposedly she's in one. I guess anybody can grow, but it just seems made for TV. She says, I invited the lady to a premiere. She accepted, and the group has met her, this, that, and the other. So, okay. All right, Portia. Shamia was asked about her transition to being a friend of for years and years and years, and then actually getting a peach. Shamia. I tried to ride for Shamia her first season with a peach. I was lucky enough to be part of a panel. I'll be still reviewing it. I'm no longer part of that panel. I was not asked back. That's perfectly okay with me, y'all. But I'm going to review Real Housewives of Atlanta when they drop. It's going to be an okay season. We know they're going to add K. Michelle, and they're going to add Pinky Cole. And I think they're a good addition. Now, neither one was at BravoCon, at least on this panel. I was surprised that they were not there. The ones that were there were everybody that was peach holder through this season, with the exception of Britt Eady, who was no call, no show for her job. So Shamia asked about her transition into holding a peach, compliments the audience, compliments the Bravoholics. Best friends, you're the best friends. So she's still doing that thing. Drew was asked about her return. She says in her 5th season, she was shocked, y'all. Drew is still shocked and surprised, still looking beautiful. She says she's surprised and just grateful that the fans wanted her back. She's happy to have her girl P back. I couldn't clarify if that was Portia or Phaedra. I don't know. But she said she brought her in and left. I can't remember who brought Drew in, y'all. Cynthia left in return, but I'm a survivor, so people are applauding Drew. Rachel Lindsay, you are corny. She asked, what's Michael Jordan's reaction? We don't care. Drew said, oh, my cousin Michael Jordan. So the audience is laughing with Drew because we know Drew will laugh at herself. She said, well, I found out Claudia Jordan is actually my cousin. The DNA is still out. She doesn't know if Michael Jordan's her cousin. So we don't care if he is or not. She says, we're both from Chicago, so we're laughing. And then Rachel moves to Kelly. She asks Kelly about hiring Phaedra for her court case. Kelly said something loud and silly. Somebody piped up. Kelly just didn't want to pay all those court fees. I don't know if Kelly heard Bobby Brown, but Bobby Brown said every time he hired Phaedra Parks, he went to jail. Phaedra piped up. She said something about she's professional at all her jobs. So we'll see. I know Sheree left there with Bob Whitfield skipping out the courtroom. And Sheree ripped Phaedra in her confessional. She said, I know top attorney Phaedra Parks got something for him. Give it to him, Phaedra. Phaedra had nothing for Bob Whitfield. Bob's like, I went to Stanfield, licked his tongue out at them, skipped down the hallway, y'all. So Rachel Lindsay then asked Phaedra and Cynthia about dating their hot younger men. Cynthia says her hot younger man is actually in Amsterdam most of the time. It's a long distance relationship. I don't know if I remember that. She said, but when he is stateside, he is swimming in the cool waters of Lake Bailey. Y'all, Cynthia Bailey had her fans out there. I'm one of them. She's doing a great job as friend of, and she loves it. Rachel Lindsay, for some reason, fresh out of a divorce where she's paying the man, says, will there be a marriage again? And both of them said no. Phaedra said, I'll get before friends and family and we'll speak some type of commitment. But marriage is easy to get in and not easy to get out. So Phaedra's speaking from a legal point of view, and I don't blame her. And Rachel, stop this. Don't put everybody in the mess you in. You still paying. Cynthia says no. She's going to have a friend contract at the most. So the audience is still laughing with Cynthia about that friend contract. When I found out Cynthia was kind of afraid about that it would make her look corny or whatever, and Carlos Kang, of all people, reassured her and was like, you just bought a second season. Because that was funny. It was so authentic and real, especially in a time where all these years later, everybody's looking for a moment. Cynthia was just so authentic with it. Like, Nene, will you be my friend and promise to? So, I mean, just as adult women, it's hard to find friends. It's hard to find real friends, hard to find friends without an agenda that is showing their real face. And I get Cynthia. I wouldn't give anyone a friend contract, but believe it or not, I will still kind of wait, kind of hold, kind of see where you're really coming from, because a lot of things are seldom as they seem. Okay. So Cynthia said the most a man would get from her is a friend contract. I agree with you, Cynthia Bailey. Cynthia Bailey was looking beautiful. She was in her big 70s Afro wig. And you know, Cynthia Bailey's ready to show off when she got that wig on. Rachel asked her what she liked about being a friend of. She said, I love all these ladies, so I want to share my business, but as a friend of, I get to choose. I'm in charge of how much of my business I actually share. So the audience applauded that. Rachel asked Portia whether or not this season is going to be better than Salt Lake City. The audience hoots. So evidently Portia was on some type of podcast saying that she doesn't think Real Housewives of Atlanta gets the appreciation Salt Lake City gets, even though Real Housewives of Atlanta is the better show. Portia, I don't agree. In the past, it actually was. Reality TV Gold laid a table for a lot of these other reality TV shows. Excuse me, I need a drink. But in present day, I didn't think Sweet 16 season was sweet at all. I don't think it's better than Salt Lake City, Portia. I don't. Too many of y'all had fake storylines. You were faking the funk. Kelly, Britt, Portia. So don't talk about Salt Lake City. Get like them. So Rachel asked her what she think about that. Audience is hooting. Portia lies with a big smile. She said, I love the girls at Salt Lake City. Yeah, Portia. I only mention them because I love them. Because when they go low, but they maintain a friendship like us. No, Portia, when y'all go low, you go low and you don't maintain. Portia and Shamia are not friends right now, y'all. They were ice cold on the panel and it came up. They are not friends. Angela gets a lot of audience applause for her first season. She said, thank the Fangelas. She had her little fan, of course. She said, the temperature was actually good, y'all. I didn't bring a jacket yesterday. I had on long sleeves. I'm wearing short sleeves today. I'll have a jacket on, but temperature was good. She had her Fangela. She said they'll be ready the first of the year. She said that Drew and Cynthia out of the group helped keep her in the game when she didn't want to be in the game. She said the Fangelas kept her sane in a group of insane women. Y'all, the other women were laughing. She says that she and Portia overcame. She said, I see Portia and Portia see me. The most important thing is that they know they can't play with me. The audience was like, yes, we were hyping up Angela. So Portia says, I don't know what happened. You said you were F her husband, Portia. That's what happened. Y'all, Portia is a trip. I'm going to drag Portia by her gold naked this season when she needs it. And when she does good things and she deserves props, I'll give her props. Portia's a trip. I don't know what happened. That was crazy. I love Angela. I apologize to Angela sincerely. Angela accepted my apology. The audience is just, oh, Portia, oh, she apologized. And Angela was like, yeah. Portia said, Angela is real. She can meet you up here or she can meet you down there. So Angela is right. Portia knows not to play with her. So expect Portia and the gang, because she got a little gang around her. Expect her, Phaedra, whomever else is on that side, expect them to gang up on somebody else, but it won't be Angela Oakley. Drew was asked about Phaedra, referencing her as a child actor. Drew's doing her Drew thing. Yes, I was a Disney girl. I was on That's So Raven. So Phaedra does know my pedigree. She knows my IMDb. So yes, Phaedra knows. So Drew didn't give anybody a chance to pit her against Phaedra. Phaedra looked cute. She was in Houndstooth, y'all. She looked really cute. Drew and Portia, some kind of issue they were having. Rachel tried to bring it up. Portia says, oh, she all quiet. Drew said, you started the issue. I'll let you speak, Portia. Portia started lying. Drew and I have a relationship. I love Drew. The audience is laughing. Everything Portia says, y'all, we just had to laugh because Portia be lying. I don't know why they say Drew be lying. She's not the only one. She said, I love Drew. I hated that it happened. We talked about it. We've worked together since. Here's news that came out, y'all. Drew, remember when Portia took Go Naked Hair away from Drew? And Drew started looking pressed immediately. Drew is going to have a wig line as an offshoot of Go Naked Hair. So congratulations to Drew and Portia, putting aside any petty and doing like business. So the audience applauded that. We all applauded that. That's good news. She says, and also Cynthia Bailey. We look at Cynthia Bailey. Cynthia Bailey had her big 70s on, y'all. So no thank you, but congratulations to them, okay? Congratulations. Rachel asked where Kelly stands with Drew. Kelly is so loud. Kelly had to grow on me and then not. She's just a yapping little chihuahua. She was very loud. Everything about her was loud. Kelly says, Drew's still lying a little bit. Kelly, why are you doing this? Drew says, Kelly has been shading me. She and Shemessi. Now, Drew is sitting right next to Shamia when she's saying this. Shamia is being real silly and shady. For some reason, she's sitting immediately to the right of Rachel Lindsay. First chair with Shamia, y'all. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I like Shamia. I started out liking her. I still like her. I've been disappointed. She's not worthy. She's not bringing anything for first chair, but she's right at Rachel Lindsay. Got her back turned to Drew. The question's on Drew. So Drew's not even looking at her, but she's sitting between her and the moderator, Rachel. So she says, Kelly and Shemessi was shading me. I found out that during BravoCon, both of them, Kelly and Shamia, who supposedly have all their own stuff going on, were on a podcast at BravoCon talking stuff about Drew. That she was asked by the podcaster, who's the better singer, K. Michelle or Drew? I think that's a matter of your ear. That's a matter of preference. Drew can sing. Shamia being a singer, why would she answer that question? Shamia, a lot of people think you can't sing. I think Shamia can sing, but there's people that don't think Shamia can sing. So Drew was rightfully annoyed with that, offended, because my answer would have been, better singer is just a matter of your taste. K. Michelle is an amazing singer of a lot of different genres. Her country album, popping, her R&B, for years she's been out doing that. Drew is amazing, has been amazing, long career. Why would you choose between your castmates? One is new and then stir up drama between the two of them where there's been drama. So Shamia, that was Shemessi. So as Drew is saying that they shaded her, Shamia starts hooting, y'all. It wasn't barking, but it was like, woo, 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 woo. And the audience was looking at each other like, what is wrong with this lady? What is wrong with this adult wife, mother of children? What is wrong? She starts talking over Drew, who's very calm and reading. Y'all know how Drew do. Kelly says, Rachel changed the topic. I didn't know I was going to turn to this. Angela's trying to shush them down. Shush, shush, shush. She's like, I didn't know I was going to turn to this. I didn't know I was going to turn to this. She had to change the whole topic. They were not listening to Rachel Lindsay. I don't know if she's cut out for the Real Housewives of Atlanta panel, because Angela Oakley was like, ladies, we're not here for this. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Rachel asked Kelly a question. Kelly, what's it like being divorced and dating? Kelly says she's in a good space. Kelly and Portia are asked about the relationship. Again, Portia says, I'm being good, but this girl trying to bring the dog out. So, yes, y'all stop picking at Portia. Portia is trying to be elevated in a new Portia. So don't get Portia fighting, because we know Portia will swing a boom light if she needs to. And then Portia says, Kelly is a cute troll. Kelly's a cute troll. Kelly, that is not a compliment. Kelly's like, well, what color am I? What color troll am I? Portia says pink. There's no such thing as a cute troll. Kelly, you're not going to make me believe you love this, okay? Trolls are not cute. Portia asked, well, what more do we need to discuss? We've had a conversation. I don't know. Maybe we discuss and have one or two more heart-to-hearts. Kelly's happy about that. Kelly, you're a fan. You're a fan of this group. You are. You think Drew's the weakest link and you can pick on her. This season's going to be interesting, y'all. I think season 17 is probably going to be better than and more interesting than season 16, which was not Sweet 16, because we got Phaedra the full season. The two new Peaches, I don't know what episodes they'll start on, but they're already filming. Pinky Cole, I'm interested to see what she brings. She's the restaurateur. She has an interesting life as far as her husband. I thought she was LGBTQIA plus at one point, but evidently there's a husband in the picture. Something's going on with the businesses. We know there was franchises, other things business-wise. So I'm interested to see and hear more about Pinky. I'm always interested to see what K. Michelle is up to. A lot of questions on whether or not she's a fit. I don't know. Phaedra is asked about returning to Real Housewives of Atlanta, though she said that it was the Titanic. Phaedra said it was. The audience is laughing because Phaedra will lie, but if she decides to tell the truth, you're going to get that truth, and Phaedra doesn't care. She said at the time it was. Phaedra lied, though. She said at the time it wasn't the cast. It was a Titanic. So Phaedra, if the show was the Titanic, it was the cast. So I don't know. She wanted to know why didn't it work. Good morning, TNTG Mom. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. Just doing a quick recap of my day 2 panels. I'm on the Real Housewives of Atlanta panel now. So Phaedra was saying that wasn't the cast the reason why she left, but she is glad to be back. She just wasn't a fit on Married to Medicine. She's okay about that. She said, Angela hated me, but I helped that be. Angela hoops. Angela said, I was on the ass. Y'all, Angela was not scared at all. Rachel asked, who would she make an end run with? She claimed she was good with everybody. Y'all know Phaedra is not going to go against anybody publicly. The last time she did that with Candy, she was banished for 5 years. So if Phaedra likes you or doesn't like you, you probably won't know. I think Phaedra could have lunch, dinner, or breakfast with anybody. She's very cordial. She said, I'm a Southern Belle. You know, I'm never going to be too, and she's not. She'll use an attack dog, somebody like a Portia, who she's a belle too, but she'll ring bells too. She claims she's good with everyone. So there was a question from the audience. Who would be the best trader from her season? Cynthia Bailey starts coughing. Her wig is just a moving. Cynthia, I don't think you would be a good trader. I don't know. Maybe you're faithful. I don't know. Because people love Cynthia Bailey's personality. Phaedra is saying, trader is physical. I don't think Cynthia Bailey want to do all that running and walking for 3 miles. I don't think so either. In Scotland, and the weather is rainy, it's muddy out there. Cynthia, I don't know. Cynthia says, don't underestimate me. That's my superpower. People underestimate me. Now, that's true. I remember when Cynthia sat down with Nene, and Nene was like, yeah, people think this is a little mouse. I told y'all this is 50 Cent, because she's here 16 years later, and I haven't been back. So, yeah, don't underestimate Cynthia. So Rachel says, oh, so I guess you're saying Cynthia. No, Phaedra did not say Cynthia would make the best trader. She didn't let Phaedra answer. Phaedra's actually saying she didn't see Cynthia doing all that. So Rachel asked about Shamia forming alliances. Shamia starts lying. I hate the word alliance. I thought that I would come in, I wanted friendship with the new, younger, funner cast. Now, Shamia, you've been on and around 10 years. So, how is the cast that's coming in newer and younger? And you've been around since Candy was there. So, she wasn't making sense. And Cynthia Bailey checked her. Cynthia checked her. So as she was saying, she wanted a friendship, so she was reaching out to the younger, newer cast like Britt, like Kelly. Now Britt wasn't successful. Britt no called, no show for the final test at college or her new job. And Britt was actually turning audience sentiment around. So that was a really bad miscalculation, not going to the reunion. So Angela piped up and said, I wasn't invited. That's right, Angela Oakley. Shamia lies and says, I thought you were older. You can't tell me Shamia's not the type to Google everybody that's going to be anywhere near her. I don't believe she thought Angela was older, y'all. I think that was a read that they wanted to use against Angela. Looking at Angela in person, Angela doesn't look any older or younger than these other ladies. She just looks like Angela Oakley. She's beautiful. All of them are pretty. All of them are really pretty ladies. And honestly, I don't think Shamia looks as young as she thinks she looks. She looks the same age as Portia to me. Portia looks young. Portia's 44. Phaedra actually is the oldest. And she looks her age. She looks in her 50s. She looks great. But Phaedra doesn't look young. So this read against Angela Oakley, I hope they retired at season 16. It's not a real one. So Bailey pipes up. Cynthia Bailey says, the glory days, well, all the ladies were here. It was a sisterhood. The ages didn't matter if you were young and popping, you were old and popping. We celebrated each other. So the audience starts hyping Cynthia up, myself included. Rachel asked her again about the friends of. Cynthia loves being a friend of. Candy pumped Shamia's head up. That caused her fans. I think it was a detriment to her. I don't know what Candy told Shamia, but I think she had her thinking like, this is how you get the fans on your side. It didn't work because I was already on Shamia's side. Her first segment, I loved seeing her with her daughter coming in singing, going up in the elevator, playing with the Shia, all this kind of stuff. Beautiful. And then she went into this weird place chasing around Portia. Portia didn't really want to talk to her about this, that, and the other. Bottom line, they are still not close. And Candy's not on the show, so that was a real miscalculation for Shamia to say listen to anything Candy has to say about it. Whatever you think about what lie Portia told, Phaedra fed to her, somebody else, an unnamed producer, Carlos King, though he said it wasn't him, told the both of them, true or not, dungeon, tour, we don't know. At this point, we don't know. At this point, I don't really care. But Shamia played herself. And this could be her last season if she doesn't turn it around. She lied about alliances. She did come in trying to get an alliance. They came in trying to freeze out Angela. This whole young, new, fresh thing, that was ridiculous. So Rachel Lindsay asked, how shocked was Angela when Charles slid into the shade at the reunion? Angela said, if you see my face, I was terrified. I remember that, y'all. When the camera zoomed in on them, and Angela's like, because, the husband sits behind them. And when Ty got that, Angela, when Charles got that question, Rachel said, what'd you think about him saying that? We're like, oh, yeah, well, y'all husbands said. That was previewing for weeks, and we were still loving it when he said that, because I get tired of the women picking on the husbands. Even Portia, who was husbandless at the time by choice because she divorced Simon, was like, whoop. Yeah, everybody gave it up to Charles for that. Angela says she was terrified because with Charles, if it comes up in his mind, it's coming out. She said, and he didn't lie, so I'll stick beside him. I'm with you, Angela. That's your husband. Stick beside him. Drew asked about Ty as a friend and Black as a friend. Drew went into her Drew media training answer. Drew says, my life played out with divorce. I'm entertaining, darling. I have friends. Ty showed up at a time when I was going through a lot. She made me laugh. She's supporting me through things I wasn't getting in my marriage. So what are you saying, Drew? Drew sounded like she was saying, Joe's all your man won't do. I'll do them for you. So y'all know Ty goes to all these different reality shows. And if the husband's not treating him right, Ty treats him right. So don't get mad, get like her. So Drew said that her DMs have her hopeful for the next 3 years. Rachel Lindsay said, it might be hard moving on if, is Ralph still downstairs? Drew said, like the Bernie Mac voice, him downstairs. Ooh, y'all, the audience was groaning. She says it's the asset that he wants. So that's true. In Georgia, y'all, they were saying, don't leave the marital home. We watched another Bravo couple go through it, Kim and Croy. Y'all, to me, that is so dangerous. But I mean, both Drew and Ralph are calculated. I don't know why people don't believe the divorce. I believe it. But I understand why he's not moving out. She said he's still in the downstairs penthouse. It's the asset that he wants. He's not leaving. She says they have to divide it. Drew, I think I would take my kids and put them in a condo or something. I couldn't do it. Ralph gets on my nerve. I can't stand his square head. And he's a person that spies on people. Y'all know, I think that he helped Martell spy on Melody over there at Love and Marriage Huntsville. I do. He's a creep. I always thought that about him. When Ralph and Drew first came on that show, when Drew had friends over and they would start talking, if something came up, Ralph would come in that room. Ralph was recording and listening to everyone. And I think he still does, allegedly, and in my opinion. Everything said on this video is alleged and in my opinion, okay? So she says that they're still going through this divorce. So somehow Nene came up. I think they asked if she's ever coming back. Oh, Phaedra said that is above us. It's above us now. Cynthia says Nene has been away for years, living her peaceful life. And you still feel support from the fans and the women. And Phaedra says she's thankful for all the fans. Oh, this is Portia. I'm thankful for all the fans, even when they're hard on me, because they may not know the whole story. So she said she was the one away. Portia was away for 3 years, living her peaceful life. And she'll always be appreciative of Bravo. Someone asked the question whether or not the Real Housewives of Atlanta ladies feel like they get their flowers. Portia lies and says, yes, she loves it. She thinks they're getting all their flowers. She's appreciative of NBC, Universal. I think Portia was lying because she just did a podcast kind of shading Salt Lake City, saying that Atlanta was better. So if you're getting all your flowers, why are you shading another group? Audience asked after the new Peaches. They asked about whether or not Nene's coming back. Again, K. Michelle and Pinky Cole were not there. We do not know why. Audience member asked about Kenya. Of course, they don't know. Phaedra says she's still in touch with Nene. Again, whether or not she comes back, that's above her, above their pay grade. Portia was asked from an audience member about dating advice. Portia said that she is a lover girl. She loves love. So she's going to Lauren, who's the more level-headed. And I think Lauren is her younger sister, but Lauren is level-headed. We've known of Lauren on the show for years. She said Lauren's like her dating coach. Cynthia had a lot of love from the crowd, a lot of different questions. One lady was crying, oh, Cynthia Bailey, just to meet you, just to see you. And Cynthia's like, oh, thank you. So someone asked the exact moment that Portia and Shamia fell out. Shamia starts lying. I'm sad, but I'm prayerful, and it's all in God's timing. Y'all fell out, Shamia, in my opinion, when Portia told you that she didn't want to talk about certain things on the show. You're still meeting and having meeting after meeting with Portia about the things she didn't want to talk about on the show. Not to mention trying to get the other ladies not to press Portia. In turn, forming an alliance, which Shamia claims she didn't have, but she did. Phaedra asked about, Portia was silent on the friendship. She just like, Portia's had enough, y'all. She's not friends with Shamia anymore. And I hope people leave them alone about it. Sometimes you grow out of a friendship, and that's that. Just leave Shamia and Portia alone. They don't mess with each other, y'all. And I think that's okay. Phaedra asked about Candy. Phaedra was asked about Candy, whether or not she has seen her. Has she apologized yet? That was meant for shade. The audience is oohing and ahhing. I was listening. Phaedra said, if I see Candy, I would definitely speak to her. I want to congratulations to her. Candy's in Vegas. She got a Lifetime Achievement Award. Also, Vicky Gunvalson from OC. They're threatening to bring back. I'm not watching OC, y'all. I'm tired of those ladies. So Phaedra congratulated Candy through BravoCon about her Lifetime Achievement Award. One of the creators, C. Diggy One, that's Chris on his own channel. I love watching him. He's handsome, y'all, in real life. He's very tall. He's 6'6". So Chris asked Portia about Candace and traders, and it's, y'all know Chris. It's this, when somebody in the preview is cussing you out. Is that Candace cussing you out? So y'all, something is going on between Candace and Portia. Portia don't know anything about it. I don't know. We were fine in Scotland. We were fine in Scotland. I don't know why Candace is shading me. I don't know why she unfollowed me. Rachel says, well, have you reached out? Portia said, you don't get to unfollow me and then I reach out to you. No, I haven't reached out. She said, but we'll talk. So we were laughing with Portia. Somebody asked the question, who is the best and worst at the business ventures? I didn't like this question. Cynthia says, well, I'm not the worst. We all support each other. Kelly piped up that that's not true, because at one point when Kelly and Drew was going at it, Drew said, well, I prefer Waffle House. I've heard different things, y'all, about Nana's. Is it chicken and waffles or just waffles? Nana's waffles. Some people love them. Some people don't. I heard when they had that waffle off with Charles Oakley won. Now, we know he's clean. We know he can cook, bake, do whatever he needs to do. Angela Oakley testifies to his cooking skills. Other people that have had it, they say he beat Kelly at those waffles, y'all. And Drew says she prefers Waffle House. So that came up. Kelly pipes up, that's not true. Everybody doesn't support everyone. Drew said she does prefer the Waffle House. She was minding her own business, and Kelly keeps shading her. True, y'all. Kelly kept coming at Drew. I think Drew's going to be a popular point of contention this season. So I'm looking forward to Drew. Drew was easily batting them back. She handled Shamia and Kelly with one hand, a calm voice, and seated. Shamia was hoop, hoop, hooting and yelling. Kelly was popping up yelling, and Drew was being calm. Like Drew or hate her, she won that round, okay? She won BravoCon 2025. Angela was asked, what did she learn her first season to help her? Angela says being authentically herself. And again, she said people know they can't mess with her. So everybody's laughing, include Portia. A lady asked Phaedra, does she have a donkey? The lady jumps up and starts bumping around and trying to show her booty. Phaedra narrowed her eyes and looks. The crowd was laughing. She said, it's a lot of movement. That's right, Phaedra. Don't lie to this lady. Y'all, that was a mess. We got to watch premiere the upcoming season of Vanderpump Rules. Lisa Vanderpump was in the room. She is electric, y'all. Everybody loved to see her. I love to see her. Haven't watched any of her shows since early seasons of Vanderpump Rules. I'm not following along with these kids. They just want to be on TV. And that's all I say about the premiere. Any of these new kids, I probably won't watch the show. No one's there to serve tables, so it's not a real thing. So the audience cheers for a premiere. Next was going to be the Married to Medicine ladies on a panel. Dr. Mimi was not listed. The other two new ladies that have joined, the nurse practitioners, I'm looking forward to them. I think it's good to have two new medical ladies that are nurse practitioners. My favorite medical providers have been nurse practitioners. I had one really great young Black doctor, primary care, and then another great, my age, Gen X practitioner. But I like to see these two nurse practitioners. They've always been my favorite medical providers. Neither one was there, nor Dr. Mimi. The other ladies were all there. Everybody was looking beautiful. Dr. Heavenly's skirt was too short. No stocking, skirt too short, just thirsty. Let me show y'all. Quad was looking beautiful. Quad had a dress. I think Sweet Tea brought this same dress because I've seen it before on Sweet Tea. All right, let me see something. Can y'all see? Okay, that's Quad in the middle, of course. Dr. Jackie is there, and then Heavenly. So Heavenly got to give a lot of her, what I was saying, that the dress was too short. They were seated, right? So you got to be careful how you're going to appear. And I've seen Heavenly do this before. She looked good, but that's too much knee and leg. Yeah, it agrees, but come on, Dr. Heavenly. Come on, that was a lot. So I did like the fact Dr. Heavenly got to give a lot of her platform. The host, I didn't care for the host. I can't remember the host's name. The ladies big up the fact that of the husbands that were there, which was Scott was there. Curtis was there. Curtis seemed to be friendly. It's his first BravoCon, Jackie said. So Curtis was meeting with a lot of fans that were surrounding him, taking pictures. I got my seat and I didn't get up, y'all. Elisa Triplet, welcome in during the live. This is just my day 2 recap. I just started the Married to Medicine panel. TNTG mom, you think that's too greasy? It is. I mean, she didn't want to be ashy, but then the better thing would be to cover your legs, kind of like what Quad had on. That's a dress that Quad had on. Quad is younger than her. You see that? That's not Quad's legs. That's Quad's dress. So then what Heavenly's doing with what she was doing, that's too much. So yeah, I can agree with you, TNTG mom. I think that's too much leg. And she's running for office. So evidently Toya was in the news kind of talking a little bit of junk about whether or not she supports Dr. Heavenly running for office. She doesn't. But the host, I didn't like the host, started out kind of negative. Heavenly, how are you going to transition from your mama to Congress? Dr. Heavenly, and y'all know I don't see it for Dr. Heavenly. If you don't know, I'll say I don't see it for Dr. Heavenly. I think she's cruel. I think she's very rude. I think she's disrespectful. I'll say some positive things. I think she is a hard worker. I think she is a hustler. I love how she stands up for her husband, her marriage, her children. And that's all I'll say about Dr. Heavenly. Welcome in Kiwan JTV. She's a content creator. She's saying good morning to everyone. Welcome in. Thank you. I'm on day 2. This is the last day, day 3 of BravoCon. I'm recapping a Married to Medicine panel, which was yesterday. So I've just started that. So the host was asking Heavenly about how she gonna go from your mama to Congress. I didn't like that. I didn't care for the host. So Heavenly claimed that she's done all her jobs professionally. I don't know. I mean, you could do your job professionally, but then if you calling people your mama and this kind of stuff, how professional is that? So Toya was evidently taunting Heavenly on a podcast, and Heavenly did a good job trying to, say a lot about what she brings to. Thank you so much. Elisa Triplet agrees with me about Dr. Heavenly. Yeah. Kiwan says she's glad I'm having a great time. I am. It's so busy, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Dr. Heavenly's a trip. I will give her, positivity where she deserves it. And that mainly is to do with her family and the many differences she started, but she was terrible. So the host asked whether or not someone asked if Toya would vote for Heavenly. Heavenly says she's not in her district. Toya, now is Dr. Heavenly in a poorer district? Is District 13 of Georgia? Toya said, no, I wouldn't live in your district because my husband and I constantly try to move up and I wouldn't be in District 13. Not Toya. I know District 13, I don't know Georgia, but it probably ranges the spectrum as far as different price ranges and income. So that was kind of a trip. Dr. Heavenly got very upset. You should be ashamed of yourself, Toya. She started yelling, y'all, that I started turning red and flashing. This was a mess. So the host says she got to move on. That's how quick Dr. Heavenly turned and start yelling and going crazy. So someone asked Toya about how did you beg a doctor? No, that was the host. The host was really male identified. She got on my nerves. She also was asking about the husbands because we love watching the husbands. We actually don't. Most of these husbands have embarrassed their wives at some point, with the exception of probably Eugene. So we don't love watching the husbands host. Speak for yourself. She asked Toya how she bagged a doctor. Toya says she didn't bag a doctor. She bagged a good man. It's a bonus that he is a doctor. Somebody asked Toya, is she still moving? Are we going to see that this season? She said her and her husband are blessed. They are building and moving into their 3rd home that they've built from the ground up in Georgia. So Toya was not playing. She was not letting people shade her. She says as she and Eugene grow and build different homes, they find different things that they need. They're at a place now where they need privacy away from the children. And then now they also he needs his own space, office and man cave, stuff like that. She needs her own space. Quad pipes up, don't you got a tree in your closet or something like that? Quad always had to be the center of attention, y'all. I got tired of Quad piping in and talking. Simone and Quad somehow get into it. Y'all, I can't remember what it was about. Something about in New York. They argued in New York. Simone says that Quad gets over things so quickly. I don't believe that. Quad has never talked to the creator of the show, Mariah, again, and has convinced all these ladies to turn against Mariah. We'll see later. A question came up, and the way they reacted, I was still shocked. Are y'all still that pressed over this lady who hasn't been back in years? It was crazy. Simone and Quad are yelling at each other. The host asks if the heads up are given when somebody's going to shade. Simone says no. Heavenly lies and says, yeah, yes it is, yes it is. But I won't be doing that on my YouTube channel this year. Yeah, I don't see the difference in Heavenly. A creator that we all know got up and asked Quad something. Oh, Quad, you're so pretty. When I hung with you, I kind of like you now. Something. I don't know. I can't remember what Quad's answer was, but Quad's answer was whatever Quad's answer was. It was a Quad answer. Blah blah blah. So the host asked something about King. She asked the ladies about Quad's relationship. Yeah, I don't care for King. I think King wants to be on TV. Dr. Heavenly, the politician, the Congress person, aspirant, pipes up. I think it's the 15 times a week. So Dr. Jackie, I don't care for Dr. Jackie. I find her crusty. I find her a sneak. I find her throw the rock, hide her hand. But she looked beautiful. And I was sitting next to a very big Dr. Jackie fan, an older white lady. This lady had me laughing. Ooh, look at Dr. Jackie. She's so pretty. She's my favorite. Ooh, look at Dr. Jackie. Ooh, look at Curtis. They are so beautiful. So I didn't let the lady know, listen, I don't see it for Dr. Jackie. But when Heavenly is hooting about this 15 times a week, Dr. Jackie says, we're going to see a different Quad this season. She shared her IVF journey, a clean pivot. I'll give it to Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie can be classy when she wants to be, but I think she weaponizes Dr. Heavenly, who doesn't have a classy bone in her body, or them big knees, greased up knees. So Dr. Jackie says, I'm proud of Quad, what she was sharing with the IVF journey. She says, she says, when Quad was sharing her journey, I was proud of her. Dr. Jackie said, when I would have bad news for her or different news for her, she said it would bring back what I went through in my own journey. Y'all, Dr. Jackie really got choked up. You remember over the 10 to 12 seasons on this show, Dr. Jackie and Curtis started out. Of course, Curtis has his former marriage, his children. He didn't want to start all over. Dr. Jackie went through medical school. She waited until she was about 30 to marry. And then she's practicing her career, very successful practice. She wanted a child. And Curtis didn't want it. Remember, she wanted a downtown condo. She wanted a child. Curtis talked her into the suburbs, waiting. We look up, y'all. It's 12 years later. Dr. Jackie was already deep in her 30s. She's over 60 now, y'all. No child. So she was crying, and I felt that for Dr. Jackie. So I don't feel it for her. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yes, Krusty. Yes. Angela A., welcome in. This is my friend, one of my moderators. Hello. She's speaking to us. I'm talking about the Married to Medicine panel. Quad has the same storyline as Sweet Tea. Isn't that something, Kiwan JTV? How we never knew Quad wanted children. And you can change your mind. It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. I want every woman to have what she wants as far as that. I really do. But Quad just seemed that she's living her single girl about the city life. And she loved doing that. And now all of a sudden, Sweet Tea's gone. They were instrumental in getting her out of there. We get this IVF journey. So we find out she starts out with Dr. Jackie, but in all the previews, y'all, which again, they showed us a preview, they're talking about going to Ghana. I'm going to the motherland for my child, her and King. So this is more storyline to get Bravo to pay for them to go to Africa, go to Ghana, talking about an IBS. So the host asked about Dr. Heavenly and Contessa. Contessa starts lying. I'm disappointed in Dr. Contessa. She looked beautiful. She had her hair real big. She's got some more reconstructive work done because she was showing it to us, y'all. And it was greased down, too. And it's not like what Dr. Heavenly was making fun of. So Dr. Contessa looks great. Scott was another husband who was there with their wife. So she says, Heavenly asked for forgiveness, so I gave it. No, Contessa, you wanted that job on the show, and that is why you forgave Heavenly. Because Heavenly couldn't have your mama to my dead mother and ever speak to me again. I'm from Miami. That's what I do. And how I get down. You're rude, Dr. Heavenly, nasty, disgusting. I don't care if she's running for Congress, y'all. I don't live in her district, but if I did, well, if she was the only one to vote for, I'd vote for her because I don't not vote, but ugh. So Contessa says, I have decided if you can have a messy bee in the White House, you can have a messy bee in Congress. So that wasn't a ringing endorsement, but it was an endorsement. So I have to agree with that. The panel is asked, who hosts the best events? Toya is brought up first. Toya hosts the best events. And then Toya says also Contessa. So they agreed at Contessa. Who has the nicest husband? Toya has the nicest husband. So yeah, y'all, it's true. Eugene is the nicest husband. He wasn't at BravoCon. Toya got him home working. Y'all know how Toya do. Who's likely to have the most sex? Everybody thought it was Dr. Contessa. So Dr. Contessa over there holding it down. Go ahead, Dr. Scott. So all the ladies thought it was Dr. Contessa, and then next will be Toya and Eugene. Simone claims, me and Jackie know the most about sex, so we don't have to have the most sex. Simone was dressed like a figure skater, y'all. She had on a Beyonce type costume. It was literally a bathing suit. She had on some old lady black stockings, and it was a visible run down the middle. Okay, I have to say that because she kept standing up to make a loud point. I like Dr. Simone, I do, but Dr. Simone's going to disappoint me this season. So just heads up and be prepared, okay? Who is the most loyal ride or die? Dr. Heavenly screams, Quad will stand by you. She'll stick beside you. Quad has been able to weaponize Heavenly against the people that she needed to get gone, Sweet Tea, and anybody else she needed her to turn against, Mariah. So, of course, Dr. Heavenly is going to yell Quad. Simone says, I think Dr. Jackie. So the lady next to me is tapping me. Remember when they fell out? I'm so glad they're friends again. I'm glad they're friends again, too. I didn't like when Simone and Dr. Jackie, the realest friends, fell out. I didn't like it. Simone says, Heavenly and I have a complicated relationship. And then Simone was asked about the campaign. She said, I donated. And when I donated, I felt that in my heart. Toya is being messy, y'all. Toya said, but you told me you want your contribution back. Do you want your contribution back? Toya, that's none of your business. Simone did not say whether or not she donated and wants her contribution back. Heavenly said, I got to check. Did I already get the money? Because if I already got the money, she said, Simone did make a donation. So that was a mess. An audience member asked a question. All the OGs are here, except for Lisa Nicole and also Mariah. Will we ever see Mariah back? Dead silence. Uncomfortable looks from Dr. Heavenly. Quad. Dr. Heavenly's not even OG, y'all. She was in the background of that fight scene because Bravo said, you too fat to come over here. And Mariah helped her get into formation, okay? So that's why we know of Dr. Heavenly, Mariah Huck. So the audience member asked that question. Patiently waited his answer. Dead silence. The host started looking around. They're all quiet. Contessa starts answering. Dr. Contessa, you were not on the show when Mariah was there. This is a question for the OGs, which would have been Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone, or Quad. None of them. Even Heavenly, who was in the background. Also Toya. And Toya, I'm disappointed in Toya. Y'all, I think Toya will disappoint me because she is like whichever way the wind blows. You can answer whether or not Mariah would come back. Contessa's answer was something about, I don't know Mariah well, but I have met her and I do follow her. She is thriving in her real life. And other than that, I don't know. The others stayed quiet. Another audience member jumped up and asked a question. I have gay women friends that have not been to the doctor in 10 years because they're scared to go. They don't want to be discriminated against. How would the doctor know that they're gay? I don't know, but this is what the person said. So Dr. Simone said, tell them to come in Atlanta and see me and Jackie because we treat all our patients with respect. Now, Dr. Jackie, she said that all the Black women be screaming and crying and trying to get days off from work when we're carrying a baby, okay? I've never carried a baby, but I've seen women that were pregnant and carrying babies. Y'all need that time off from work. So Dr. Jackie, I ain't forgot. And then got invited to the White House by Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, I don't know who was on your team, but Dr. Jackie should not be mentioned. So Dr. Jackie did speak up and said, well, mention to your friends about early prevention is key. I do agree with that message. Tell them to give me a call. Y'all, Dr. Jackie don't take insurance. That's what I heard. Dr. Jackie doesn't take insurance. That's what I heard. So Dr. Heavenly got back on her power to the people. Another reason I'm running is the 13th district haven't seen their congressperson in years. So then Dr. Contessa says, I practice addiction medicine full time, and I also lobby on behalf of veterans. I like Dr. Contessa when she's in her medicinal bag. I really do. And she's been to DC speaking on healthcare. That's another reason why I'm glad she's back full time. Alexander Rogers, y'all, the content creator, he strikes again. He was online at this panel. He says, Dr. Simone. Dr. Simone looking at him, y'all, they know this man. I think his picture's been distributed, or they do watch certain creators. He said, Dr. Simone, after Cecil wasted $24,000 of your hard-earned money on kids' sports, can he make financial decisions in your household? Dr. Simone plays crazy. She says, Cecil is in charge of all of our real estate investments across the state of Georgia. Now, we know Cecil has been billed as a realtor, and he does have a real estate license. So she's talking about that. But Alexander Rogers is talking about this business that was showcased on the show years ago, that good money went after bed and it went down the drain. So she said, he can invest in the real estate decisions in our household. However, he don't get to say whether or not I buy a certain car. That was a storyline too, where Cecil had something to say about Simone buying her Maserati. The way Dr. Simone works, she can buy a Maserati, a Maybach, whatever she wants, okay? She said, he has full dominion over that, not the car I buy or drive. So the audience hyped up Simone, okay? Who asked that question? Dr. Simone question? Alexander Rogers over there with Pop Roast with C. Diggy. He's a trip. He was a menace to everyone. He asked Cal an underhanded question too. But Real Housewives of Potomac saw him in line. Alex was standing up there, and they cut the questions off right before his friend Chris C. Diggy One got up there. So that was so funny, y'all. I said, yeah, they see you. TNTG Mom, I want to read this question about Dr. Jackie. I was pissed when I heard Jackie spoke negatively about Black women. Yes, TNTG Mom, it was very short-sighted. It was cruel. I've watched Dr. Jackie over the years. I feel like she has a cruel streak. She can be very bitter. And for her to open up and cry about, when I had bad news to give Quad, it took me back to my IVF journey. And I felt for Dr. Jackie in my heart. But I'm wondering if she's watching these women come in, having these babies, if that's triggering something in her where she's saying, she's just trying to get time off work. She's blessed. She should feel this. She should feel that. So I always looked at Dr. Jackie with a side eye after she did that. She didn't want to apologize. She didn't want to apologize to Buffy. Buffy is not Buffy over here on YouTube. Buffy, you are infertile at a formal event, Dr. Jackie. It brings back memories, TNTG Mom, the things that Dr. Jackie has done. I can give Dr. Jackie her flowers when she deserves it. Dr. Jackie is a menace. Mariah Huck was asked years ago, who's the most undercover? Mean Girl? Mariah Huck with a straight face said, Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie. She said they gave Simone a knife to cut me. And Simone came and told Mariah to her face, they want me to help cut you out, ice you out. And they did it. They iced that lady out of her creation. But Dr. Jackie was behind the scenes. Because a personality like Dr. Jackie, she can't really shine in the presence of a Mariah Huck. That's just my opinion. She's classy, elegant, but she got her attacked off. Dr. Heavenly, I saw them big greased knees under that dress. Dr. Heavenly's always going to be a certain class of woman. I hate to say it, but let's be real, okay? Let's be real. Yeah, I like Alexander Rogers. I know Dr. Heavenly might have been shaking them knees when she saw him because he read her. Ooh, he talked about her so bad I unsubscribed because some of the commentary about women I don't take from certain ones. So I will watch him on and off, but I don't go over there regularly. Dot Willie, welcome in. Thank you so much. Good morning, Sandra P. and everyone. Dot Willie came in, y'all. This is day 2. I'm talking about the Married to Medicine panel. We've been here a while, so just come in as you see fit. Like the video, subscribe if you're not already. You agree about Dr. Jackie or Heavenly? Yeah, Dr. Jackie, I was really upset. Mariah still gets paid. I love that. I love that. That's why I love when Melody Cherie left them over there to their own devices. And I think I don't know if she's still executive producer or got a piece of the show or what. Sometimes you got to leave people where they are and it's not worth the money. So Mariah Huck is still getting paid. And she does have a thriving business. I follow her too, and her and Aiden be all over the world. Dr. Aiden is still practicing. Lauren is away at school. Ethan is at Hampton University. He's also in flight school. So Mariah is amazing. And then an audience member got up and said, Miss Quad, she got it. And the whole cast said, she got it. Now, who gave you that title, Quad? Mariah. Isn't that funny? Miss Quad. when they used to hype each other up and they were really friends. Now, Mariah did try to Lil Sis Quad, but she did hype up Quad as well. She started, when Quad would come in, Miss Quad, Miss Quad. That was Mariah, but an audience member did that. The audience member wanted to know, why didn't Phaedra work out on that show? They threw the question to Quad. They didn't want to talk about Phaedra Parks, y'all. They said, the person that's still in touch with Phaedra, you can talk about Phaedra. She was like, generally, I don't speak on Phaedra Parks, but I will say she didn't want to be on Married to Medicine. That's the only reason she didn't thrive. She's going to thrive on Housewives. She was giving her go tell it on the mountain speech, y'all. Quad is a trip. She was doing her good to be acting. Y'all, there is one more panel. It was Real Housewives of Miami. This was hosted by Kiki Monique, which honestly I was not here for. Kiki Monique is a blogger, but she factored into one of the storylines on Real Housewives of OC, which I do not love. This lady right here, there's Gertie. Adriana is in shades. I don't know why Adriana was in shades, but she was. Y'all, this panel was so late. It was 5 p.m. Now, you know, they opened the doors at 9:30 a.m. So that was a long day. So we had Alexia up there. Everybody's beautiful. This is probably one of the best looking overall casts, in my opinion. Real Housewives of Miami, also the best dress, in my opinion. So Married to Medicine, Alexia, of course, spoke first. She's telling us who's okay about who's okay after the reunion. And then, of course, she started right off, y'all, not even subtle, trying to isolate Gertie. After the reunion, I would think that me, Marisol, Adriana, Lisa, Stephanie, and even Julia have had a moment. Okay, Alexia, that's everybody on the cast except for Gertie. So the audience is murmuring like, ugh, here we go. Marisol's already drunk. I got my cocky. You got to be lit for this panel. Y'all, I wish I were joking. Now, it is 5 p.m. And we know how Marisol do. She had a flask. And yes, y'all, she was slurring. She was. Gertie piped up in her pretty green dress. She said, I'm thriving. And Russell has come to Vegas. I got my book with me. We're out here signing books. People are buying the books. And I'm proud to be here. Gertie got a huge audience applause. Because I don't know how Gertie does it. Gertie is one of one, y'all. I was laughing. So the audience, Kiki asked, Kiki Monique. I'm sorry. We have a Kiki on this panel. Kiki's so pretty in real life, y'all. She's gorgeous. Kiki Monique is the host. Kiki, the friend of, is there. Marisol is also a friend of. She's there on the panel. And also Adriana's friend of. She's there. The whole Miami panel came out. So Lisa and Larsa says yes and no to them getting along. Larsa does that thing in person, talking like she's 15 years old, but she's really 51. She looks like Kim Kardashian, y'all. She does. And she's had work done to do that, so I don't care for that. Someone in the crowd asked Julia to sing opera. I thought that she was not going to do it. The crowd was actually yelling no. Julia, I don't know if it's lost in translation. This lady stood up and started, I'm going to sing about my friend, Adriana. Evidently, her and Adriana had a moment in Vegas where they kind of forgave each other a little bit. We'll see later. It just didn't fly. She starts singing something about blah, 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 blah. And it was just that, but like 10 times worse, y'all. And I can't sing at all. And then she said, I love my dog. And the audience was moaning and groaning. And I didn't cover my ears, but it was terrible. So Kiki Monique says, well, what about the I Love My Dog song? What did you think about your castmate's opinion of it? Adriana says, I don't care. Lexi can think what she thinks. The song is selling and the audience loves it. Okay, Adriana. So Kiki asked about whether or not Miami Kiki would like a mojito. Hands her a mojito to be shady. Y'all, Kiki drank that mojito. So they were telling her, don't drink it, Kiki. Just say you want one. She was like, no. Kiki said, it'll happen when it happens. I was with Kiki. Don't beg for that mojito. You're doing everything you want to do as friend of, except maybe getting the check that they're getting. So that Marisol was asked if the offers for Mama Elsa's house picked up after it was featured on TV. She slurs, no. At this point, I'll take any offer. So Kiki Monique says, what about if a fan wants to buy the house? And she said, again, I'll take any offer. So they said, is there a difference between nautical staff and Vegas staff? Stephanie says, I'm different. I'm wild out here because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I got long hair. I got new boobs. I've been listening to the audience tell me I'm dressed like an old lady. So, y'all, we're going to see a different Stephanie. Ooh. Kiki says, I like the new Stephanie. I didn't have a problem with Stephanie. Stephanie got on my nerves, but she was herself. Larsa said, I sent her to my boob doc. I don't want Stephanie to come back acting like Larsa. I don't like it, y'all. I don't like it. Are they really letting Julia return? I don't know, Kiwan J, but it seemed like a soft launch. The audience was having none of it. Every time she spoke, she was drowned out by boos. Every time Gertie said anything, people were jumping up, yelling, Gertie. At one point, she got a chant that stopped what was going on. Gertie, Gertie. And Julia was trying her best. She tried to apologize again, and the audience told her, sit down and shut up, because she stood up to apologize to Gertie, and nobody was going for it. So I don't want Stephanie to change, y'all. And then somebody said, well, that was a Jackie O look. She says, well, she don't want people to think she looks like an old lady. I didn't think she looked like an old lady. I just think she wasn't naked like Larsa. So they said, who goes harder in Vegas? Larsa said, that's usually me, but Vegas Stephanie was out to 3 a.m. Kiki Monique says, does anything about Chihuahuas or Rottweilers trigger them? No, it doesn't. It was just, she was acting like a Chihuahua, not looking like one. And we knew that. Alexia is very literal. I think it's maybe English being her second language. We knew that. Stephanie doesn't look like a Chihuahua, and Alexia doesn't look like a Rottweiler. They were just acting like that in the moment. So Kiki says, who is surprised at Stephanie going toe-to-toe with Alexia? Alexia says she kind of was. Nobody else was. They said Stephanie doesn't suffer fools gladly. And she kind of thought Alexia was acting like she was a queen bee in charge, and Stephanie wasn't going for that. Stephanie said, I'm alpha, she's alpha, so that's why we got into it. Are Alexia and Todd still together? I had him blocked for 85 days, but I was out in Miami with Kiki and Marisol, and Kiki was being very friendly with him, and so I broke the 85-day fast from him, and I talked to him. I think Alexia was lying. The audience was murmuring and laughing. There is a blogger, Anna, that used to be on earlier seasons of the show. She has a podcast over at Hurat Entertainment. And she says that Alexia's been dating Todd. She's trying to hide it kind of from Bravo. So, because Todd hates Bravo and he's suing them. So Alexia got up there and lied, y'all. I think she's still with Todd. That's her husband or ex-husband. We don't care, Alexia, just don't lie. So did she and Marisol speak about dragging Todd? Alexia said, well, I realized I spoke poorly as well, so neither one of us are going to talk about Todd. We agreed not to talk about Todd. Alexia was a trip in that red dress, y'all. Pretty, but just dumb. So Marisol said, don't ask about him. She was asked about Tom Schwartz, who is a Bravo personality from Vanderpump Rules. What do you think about being his number one crush? Alexia correctly said, Bravo boys like to kiss and tell. I will never be with a Bravo boy. Yeah, I see them doing a lot of that. Like the fake Jack Harlow that Wendy calls Ashley's man. He's always out in Ashley. Ashley's name came up in another panel, y'all. It was the Vanderpump Rules kids. They were like, which Real Housewife would you want to get with? Somebody was like, what about Ashley? Sound like they were saying Ashley been around the bend and back for Summer House between different shows, y'all. And I believe it, okay? Kiki asked about Adriana and Julia. Adriana says, I was shocked that it came up about the Haitian mortician. The crowd started screaming and laughing. One lady was yelling, the Haitian mortician. These ladies stood up, y'all. They had Haitian mortician t-shirts on. Bravo holics are kind of crazy, okay? So they said, did anybody know who the guy is? Adriana knows who he is. She's got a picture of him, so this is going to come up later. What is Lisa and Jody's status? Lisa is I'm in love with Jody. I'd marry Jody at any time. Jody is here supporting me. Stand up, Jody. Jody gets up. The crowd waves at Jody. Adriana says, I have another gift. She jumps up, goes behind the couch. Y'all, she gives Julia a coffee maker. Julia said, that's not true. He didn't give me a coffee maker. Adriana said, I heard that it was true. Everybody's asking me what kind of coffee maker. This is it. It was a coffee maker. It looked to be a Keurig or something, y'all. So Adriana gives Julia an actual coffee maker. Julia's lying. That ain't true. So they want to know, how did Martina take it? That's an audience question. How did Martina take what you said and did at the reunion? Julia cries, but she makes a cry face. I don't think she was crying. Martina and I are very strong. Martina and I is together. Martina and I is not divorcing. Martina is great mom for my boys. Martina and I, Martina and I, Tina and I. I think Martina has Julia's disrespect in the back of her mind. Martina is a woman, but she acts like a woman. They don't like to be embarrassed. Julia, I wouldn't discount Martina's feelings in this. They might be together now, but in a safe time, I think Martina's done with Julia. I don't believe Julia. I don't. So, audience member asked, oh, the lady, Adriana said, I got another surprise. Y'all, Kiki Monique was not in charge of this panel. There was a lady from the audience begging her, take over, because Adriana jumped up again. I mean, it was kind of chaotic, y'all. So she said, I got another surprise. We know who the Haitian mortician is. There's a lady in the audience. Melissa, come up here. Give me the picture of the Haitian mortician. The lady got embarrassed. She didn't go up there. So they asking Julia. Larson said, Julia, do you want to clear this up? Julia said, it's a mistake. It's not the truth. Well, there was someone that used to do my makeup years ago, and then I found out that too, he also worked at funeral home, so he too, he a mortician, but I didn't sleep with him. Julia, you lying. You slept with the guy that used to do your makeup, and that is a side gig for a lot of people that do makeup. Some of them do makeup at funeral homes as well. I'm sure a lot of them are Haitian in Miami. And Julia, you slept with that man. I'm sorry. It's too specific, okay? It's specific. I believe it. So Kiki wanted to get Julia and Gertie to talk more about Captain Sandy. Gertie wants no parts of it. So then finally, the lady comes up from the audience that's got this picture of the Haitian mortician. Adriana said, we got the picture. She's holding up the picture. I couldn't see it in the thing, but Larson said, that's not funny. It's really not funny. Is she even Haitian? Is she Haitian? Y'all, the Haitian mortician, the picture that Adriana was showing, it was a picture of Phaedra Parks. That wasn't funny. It was not funny. It was ridiculous. And I was with Larsa. Larsa was saying, that is not funny. Is she even Haitian? They were like, Phaedra is not Haitian, and she is not dating Julia. Larsa said, that's not okay. That's not okay. Kiki Monique had no control over this panel. Adriana finally sat down. Kiki asked Gertie, what would the text prove? Gertie says, you know what they prove. I explained it. Gertie, you didn't explain it. I know what they proved. They proved that Julia had lied on you. Gertie says, I stand 10 toes down that I was telling the truth. I showed the text. It was my event. I'd do it again. The audience is like, Gertie. So we were hyping up Gertie. I didn't get to see Russell. I think he was down front. So she said, I built my brand brick from brick, and no one's going to hurt my character. And if we're going to be friends and you hurt my character, then we're no longer friends. So Kiki Monique is confused. She says, well, where does the friendship stand? Gertie says, non-existent. So the audience applauds. Julia, I apologize. The audience booed, and we drowned her out. Boo, leave Gertie alone. Shut up. So Julia sits back down. She says, I don't hold any grudges. She did get to say that because Gertie says, skip the lies. She skipped the lies. So the crowd is shouting. That's when the Gertie chant started. I put it in here. So Kiki Monique went to Lisa and Jody. What if Jody wants a quiet life off of reality TV? Lisa says, well, that depends on the status of our relationship. Are we married? Are we engaged? I'll consider. Lisa, you won't consider. You love being on TV. She said he did not deserve the beating that he took. And did Larsa ever apologize? Larsa says, I didn't mean for that to be said about Jody. Larsa, you knew what you were doing with the AC. You knew, okay? You knew. You did mean for that to be said about Jody. Excuse me, I didn't turn the ear back on it. So I don't believe Larsa. Larsa's lying. She said she didn't mean it. Kiki asked, what about the narcissist party and all the red flags? Lisa said that was rude. I had just lost my dad, and I shouldn't have been getting all these red flags. I should have been getting my cup filled with love. So the audience cheers Lisa. Lisa's asked about her trip to Spain. She says the weirdest thing was that I was at the gate. She said I was there. It was 1 minute to spare, and the audience starts laughing. Gertie said, 1 minute to spare, girl, for international flight. You're not on time. You're not on time. So she said, I told the lady, Jody will send my bags. Let me run to the gate. Y'all, she had 1 minute in Miami to run to international gates. The flight closes at least 30 minutes before for international. Even domestic, they close a good 15 now. It used to be 10, but Lisa's still trying to fight that battle. And Gertie was like, be on time. So the audience was laughing at Lisa. So Larsa lies. She was asked about Jeff. Is she going to be married to Jeff Cosby? I can't remember his name. Is he going to be married by the end of this year? She told Andy that in New York. Blah, blah, blah. We're in a good place. We're in a good place. I don't know if by the end of the year, but Jeff's the most social person I've ever known. And I thought I was social. Larsa was just blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it's a Haitian thing, Gertie. So she's letting us know Jeff is Haitian. Well, we knew he wasn't a white boy because she don't like that. So she jokes about having a joint wedding with Lisa and Jody. Kiki asked the audience if Stephanie can brag a little less. The audience didn't play along, y'all. We kind of like Stephanie, okay? So Stephanie was like, I like nice things. I work hard so I can brag about my things. So the audience kind of laughed along with Stephanie. Stephanie was a good sport. Gertie says she bought 5 of my books to give away. She bought 5 of my books. She's generous. She's generous. Gertie's funny. Gertie's out in left field. So I'll say the most popular would be Stephanie, Gertie, Lisa. I think Alexia and Marisol kind of counted each other. I kind of discounted each other like blah. Julia was very unpopular. So Kiwan asking if she's coming back. I don't know. I don't think Bravo wants to fire her because they might still want Martina around, but it depends on if Martina is not too humiliated to film. So I think all of that is still in the works. I don't know. So, Kiki started being messy. Somebody said that this was the part we were saying Stephanie was very generous. Can she brag less? No. And Adriana said she is very generous. Everything she did for me during her year-end Christmas party. Kiki, Miami Kiki, pipes up. I heard that Adriana had to pay her own stage to be at your party. Adriana says, who told that lie? That's not true. Alexia and Marisol start speaking. Marisol says, yeah, that's true. I heard that she had to pay $12,000 for the stage. Adriana started yelling, stop spreading lies. Stephanie said, this is disgraceful. Stop spreading lies. She didn't have to pay to be at my party. Adriana paid her band $11,000. Remember, she had Miami Sound Machine, Emilio Estevez backup band, and they had to be doing a favor because these guys were on Tiny Desk. They've been relevant for 30 years. So doing a little Christmas show for $11,000, Adriana has a lot of connections. That's the only reason why that was done. Stephanie did not take any money from Adriana for that. And Marisol used Kiki to say it. Kiki, you played yourself. Y'all, I was disappointed in Kiki. A lady stands up. She's all spaced out. Marisol, can you tell me how to connect with my Cuban grandmother? She just died. Marisol starts saying something about you got to wait at least a year because somebody told me that when I was trying to get with Mama Elsa. Y'all, she slurred. We didn't really want to hear it. Somebody asked Larsa a question. Which Kardashian would best fit with the cast? Larsa has no humor. She missed the joke entirely and says, I think Kim. Kim's business-minded. Now, we all know the Kardashians have cut Larsa off years ago, even though she's been trying to look like a Kardashian sister for years. They cut her off because she wouldn't stop connecting with Kanye over the telephone when he and Kim were going through a divorce, and he was stalking and everything else, allegedly, to Kim, even though she was mad that Lisa wouldn't unfollow Marcus Jordan. So she missed the joke. She was crazy. The same audience member, y'all, I thought this was funny. She said, I have a 2-part question. Stephanie, how was the party at Kris Jenner's? So this was a dig at Larsa, who is persona non grata. She'll never be at another Kardashian party. Stephanie, how was the party at Kris Jenner's? The Christmas party, some other party. Stephanie says, the party was effing epic. Stephanie, no shame. Larsa, she looked a little bit pressed. She said, Bruno Mars performed. Muhammad got to play poker with Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. Y'all, the audience booed Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. They're billionaires, so I don't care when they get booed, okay? Gertie says, another thing I want to say about New York, She said, Gertie was doing her own little mini reunion. She said, I am too much. I do too much. I'm shiny and I shine bright. We all do. So the audience applauded her. A lady stood up and said, I came from the UK for BravoCon. She wanted to know what Martina felt. After the reunion, the audience just chuckled. Y'all, we already talked about this. Julia said they're definitely non-divorcing. And then they got a shady question. Which franchise is overrated? Adriana answered her own question. She didn't do like Portia and talk about Salt Lake City. Adriana said, I think we're underrated. So they said, who don't they want to see at BravoCon? None of them would answer. So they were all being really polite because we got to remember they were brought back. They were actually phased out and then brought back on Peacock. Andy Cohen brought that up at the Andy and Jeff Lewis question. Actually, I'll get to see another one, Ask Andy, today at 10:15. It's still early here, y'all. It's 8:30 or so. So thank you. This is a very long live, but thank you for those of you that lasted. Pop in as you can. Thank you so much, Team Replay. That was the whole summary of day 2. It was chock full. But my favorites were the Married to Medicine panel, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Miami was a little late, but I loved getting to see all the ladies, and I think all of my panels were worthwhile yesterday. So thank you so much for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. I'm on location, y'all, at BravoCon 2025. And then I will see you in the Vegas and also in the YouTube streets. Please like, comment, also subscribe, answer any questions if I didn't cover anything, and I will see you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.